My stepdad was the only person I want to have that sexual experience with, that sexual adventure. There's this ASU strike in my first year. I and my stepdad, we had sex in all corners of the house.
Sex with your pastor, right?
Yeah, and also my stepdad, a senior pastor at that. So fast forward to when I got admission into IMSU. I started with can do. So the more the urge grows, so that candle wasn't really satisfying me, I started using cucumber. My grandfather is a peacemaker. We had to abandon our properties with them. My mom started focusing on him and herself. She neglected me totally. That was how we started living with our pastor. I found myself under the bridge around Oji flyover.
Did you in any way attempt suicide?
Yeah, when I was raped.
Dear viewers, please do not judge our guests. Drop them words of advice and encouragement.
I was 15 when I lost my dad. Our pastor then, who later got married to my mom, was a great support to us when I lost my dad and during his burial. Then I didn't suspect anything between my mom and our pastor then, because he was a great support. He was getting us food stuff and the rest of it all, because things were actually very, very difficult for my mom and I when we lost my dad and her husband. So it wasn't easy for us, but with the help of our pastor, at least I would say things were a little bit kind of good for us with the support.
Wow. What was your mom doing as at then?
You mean kind of a business?
Yes.
Actually, my dad, when he was alive, was working with an NGO. So I think he had an agreement with my mom to be a full-time housewife to, take care of the home and especially me, to take care of me also. So she wasn't doing anything at that time.
Oh, nice. That's to say that your childhood was very rosy, right?
Yeah. My childhood was the best memories I ever had, because everything was at my beck and call. My dad made sure he provided every single thing I needed as a child then. So I would say my childhood was just the best part of my life.
So how about your father's mother, your grandmother, I mean?
My grandmother.
Yeah.
My dad's mother. She's alive. She's actually the brain behind everything that is happening to us. She hated my mom so much that she's ready to do anything just for us not to get anything from my dad's property. I know she might have confused my uncles and the family.
I'm so sorry about that. How about your grandfather? Is he still alive?
My grandfather. My grandfather is a peacemaker. In fact, my grandfather is a loving man. To the best of my memories, he's a kind person.
So is he still alive?
Yes, he's still alive, but he had stroke around 2020, and since then he has been living under the mercy of everyone.
So how did the romance between you and your stepfather start?
Okay. After a year, I lost my dad. My mom decided that she wants to remarry because my uncles and my grandmother were becoming unbearable for us. We couldn't stay with them. The pain, the constant nagging, and the constant accusation, making us feel like my mom was the person that killed my dad. We couldn't endure all that anymore, so we had to move in to our pastor's house. That was how we started living with our pastor. We had to abandon our properties with them and go to stay with our pastor.
Was he that rich? Like, did he own the church, the pastor, I mean?
Okay, I wouldn't say he's rich, but we had all the necessary things we needed then. So he was a senior pastor in one of the popular churches in Nigeria. So, and he even had to start up a business, a baby wear business for my mom. And that was where the neglect started.
Can you throw more light on that?
So, well, when my stepdad came into the picture, so my mom started focusing on him and herself, coupled with her business. So she barely has time for me. She neglected me totally. So it was just all about herself and her happiness. That's what matters to her.
So what do you think made her change to that kind of person?
Well, I would say she was just having a transfer aggression from my late dad's family. She's transferring everything to me.
So what made you think it was transfer of aggression?
Because I was the only link between her and my father's family. So, and she didn't want to have anything to do with that name again.
Oh, wow. Sorry about that. Continue.
So, when she got to her shop, she had a whole lot of customers, people from the church and even outside the church. So, she neglected me and I had to teach myself a whole lot of things. Of course, I learned the hard way.
So, did you in any way attempt suicide?
Yeah, when I was raped.
So sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I agreed for this interview so that people will learn from my story. So what happened was that my stepdad, which was also my pastor, started showering me with praises, showing me love, care, telling me how fast I'm growing, becoming a beautiful lady. He gave me listening ears. He really showed me love, care, attention. He gave all that to me. So then, after my dad's death, my grandmother, she seized my phone that the phone is going to make me useless. So, but my stepfather, which is also my pastor, had to convince my mom to get me a new phone.
How old were you then?
I was 19, 20, thereabout, yeah.
Oh, so that is to say you started using smartphone at the age of 19?
I would say at that point I had access to a Nokia Touch because whenever they want to reach me, they reach me through the Nokia Touch in the house. But when I gained access to using a smartphone was when I was 19, 20, or yeah, I remember my 20th birthday. That was when I started using a smartphone because then my stepdad, which is also my pastor then, we started stealing kisses here and there in the house. So he asked me what I wanted for my 20th birthday, and I told him that I want to have a small party, because the last time I had such celebration was when my dad was still alive, and since then it's pain, torture until my stepdad came in. So when he asked me what I wanted, I just want to celebrate, because then at that point I started feeling happy, was happy. That feeling of when you lost something at a point, it's like you're regaining that thing back.
Yeah.
That was how I was feeling then. So that was when I had access to a smartphone.
Oh, so where was your mom when all these things happened? Did she suspect something was going on?
She did suspect it, but she felt it was. She didn't know it's someone within. She felt I was into these runs or a boyfriend thing. So that was what she was feeling. Cause there was a time she seized my phone, but because through the intervention of my stepdad, I collected the phone. She gave it back to me. Then I started having dirty chat with my stepfather, which is also my pastor. Then yeah. So we started having dirty chats. It was a memorable one. But after the chat, we do wipe it, because we had to clear our chats, not to get caught. Yeah.
That was smart. So, is he the one that disvirgined you?
I will say he's not the one that disvirgined me. I disvirgined myself. But if you say if he was the first person I ever slept with, yes, he was the first man I ever slept with. He was my first love.
How do you mean you disvirgined yourself?
So when I started using the smartphone, we started having dirty chats, sending sexual emojis to each other. So then with the kissing and then romancing, everything got intensified. Then I had zero knowledge about pornography. So I told him about my willingness to further my education. So he enrolled me into a jam lesson. So that was where I got to meet crazy friends. I made crazy friends. They were the ones that introduced me to porn sites. So there I started getting used to pornography movies. So pornography sites, sorry. And I had the urge to use objects, because I didn't know how to tell my stepdad that I wanted him to have sex with me. So I started using objects. I started with candle. So the more the urge grows, so that candle wasn't really satisfying me, I started using cucumber. So that was where I channeled my sexual energy to using objects. So fast forward to when I got admission into IMSU. I got admission into IMSU through the influence of my stepdad. At that
your
point,
pastor?
Yes, my pastor. At that point, I was so entangled with him, more than my own mother.
Wow. How about your other siblings? Didn't you have any?
I was the only product of my late dad and my mom, and my stepdad and also my pastor was divorced then he has kids with his wife, but they live in UK. So my stepdad and my mom didn't really bother about having more kids.
Well, don't worry, continue.
There's this ASU strike in my first year. I came home. I and my stepdad, we had sex in all corners of the house. Name it, the kitchen, bathroom, at the sitting room, at the dining, name it, like everywhere. I would say was literally smelling of us, because we had it like almost every time and anywhere. So at that point, because then in school I already met crazy friends. They invited me to clubbing, telling me about their sexual adventure. I wouldn't say at that point, guys weren't coming around me. They were really coming around me, but my stepdad was the only person I want to have that sexual experience with, that sexual adventure. He was the only person I want to have that experience with, because of how addicted I was becoming to sex. So
sex with your pastor, right?
Yeah, and also my stepdad. So I was becoming addicted to him. So, but at a point, he started avoiding me.
Why was he avoiding you at that moment?
He was avoiding me because we are having the whole thing almost everywhere, and he has an image to protect. Yes, he's my stepdad, but also a pastor, a senior pastor at that. You know what it means being a senior pastor. Many people will be looking up to him and all that.
I understand.
There was a time I noticed they started having making some arrangements in the sitting in the church, because anytime he climbs the pulpit to preach, and I was sitting directly facing him, he sees it that I was seducing him and distracting him from his teachings in the church. So, because anyone that comes close at that point will know that this is no longer agape love, but more like an erotic love. Now, we were actually caught by my mother. My mother caught us red-handed in the kitchen while we were having sex. In the house, everybody has his own key. So I think she forgot something, and she came back to pick it up. Which at that time, my stepdad was supposed to be at work then, but she caught us in the kitchen.
So what happened when you guys were caught?
Okay, when I was caught red-handed, I ran out of the house. I ran out of the house because I didn't have any friends that I could go, maybe let me stay at your place and all that. So I had to go I wandered through the streets till about 10-11 p.m. I found myself under the bridge around Oji flyover. So that was where I saw people there lying down, So I just looked for a very small corner where I could just put my head and think of what my next step would be the next day. So when I got there, I looked for a small corner and I laid down my head. Not until after like some hours, though I can't really say the exact time, but I felt a torchlight pointed directly on my face. And when I could regain myself, I felt a muscular because it was dark there. So I felt I heard a muscular voice. And, at that point I was so scared. So there's this my friend that once told me that anytime I found myself in such situation that I can't get external help, that I should not shout, I should just calm down and relax.
It's just like you're comforting yourself in the face of danger.
Yeah.
That is a lion's courage.
So I wouldn't lie to you, it wasn't easy, but I tried so hard to just comport myself. I tried so hard to just relax. And that was when the worst of it happened. That was where I got raped. The pain was just too much. The pain, I don't know how to start explaining what happened, but it was a very horrible experience for me. It was traumatizing for me. But what will I do? What can I say? I'm just a homeless child that ran out of the house. So at that point, I just felt the ground just open, and I should just go down.
And I remember, is that the point where you attempted to commit suicide?
Exactly. That was when I attempted suicide. But I just guess maybe God was just giving me a second chance or trying to spare my life. Because at that point I was at my lowest moment. Nobody to run to. Even people from my maternal side. Nobody, because my mom was the breadwinner then. And their mom is late.
But is your mother the first child?
No, my mom is the second to the last. Yeah, my mom was second to the last.
So what happened to the rest of her siblings, your uncle or your aunties?
Just like I said, my mom was the breadwinner. So obviously, they don't really have anything. Nobody showed any concern about me. It's just the money they're getting from my mom. So, and my mom's dad was about 70. He was aged, so still living under the mercy of everyone. So there wasn't the best place. It wasn't even an option for me to go there. So after days, I had to go back home. Then,
that is your stepfather's home?
Yes.
Okay.
There, my mom had already packed out and gotten herself another apartment. My stepdad, which was also my pastor, has been suspended from preaching. So, you know that's when people have heard your story, I couldn't face the shame. When you come out, people will be like, oh, that girl, look at what she did.
Okay.
So it was just too much for me. So at that point, that was when my dad's friend that was working in same NGO with my late dad adopted me. He adopted me and he gave me a life. He made me see reasons to life. He gave me another perspective of life. He made me the woman I am today. Like the person I am today, Mr. Francis Anyawu made me who I am today. And I want to say a very big thank you to Mr. Francis and his family. A very big thank you to them all for what they did to me, for the role they played to an abandoned child like me. May God bless them all. May God give them and grant them their heart desires. In Jesus' name.
Amen. What would you like to tell the viewers about your experience? What would you like them to learn?
Well, this is my confession and your lesson. I've said my own part of my story. I expect the viewers or listeners to learn from my story.
That means that through her confession, you will learn the lessons. You don't have to make the same mistake that she made, because there was no one to care. So here in my confession, your lesson, you learn a lot. You learn life. You understand how things happen. If you want to make your own confession, feel free to use the number running through your screen right now. Contact us. Then stay tuned. There are a lot more coming your way. Thank you.
I've said my part of the story. And I know that yes, people might be going through what I am going through now, what I went through. What I want to say is just the way God sent Mr. Francis to my life to come to my aid. Same God will do it for you. Don't give up. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep pushing. Keep pushing. And I know God will come to our aid and see us through.